Welcome, lovely buckets, to Venus Spiritual Lounge. Today is April the 16th, and how's everybody doing? How's everybody functioning? Are you minute by minute, or are you hour by hour, or are you day by day? Um, Judging by the comments, I think left on my last video, I think it's a little combination of everything. Sometimes we have to take minute by minute, moment by moment, and kind of work with our thoughts, recenter ourselves um, into that love mode. Okay, realizing love is the gearing, guiding force of everything. Everything, no matter what we're seeing on the outside, it's still orchestrating everything. It just has to do it in ways that we can see it, we can understand it, we can comprehend it, and it has to be done in ways that we will learn from it. Okay? A lot of people still can't have beautiful flowers in their path because they still don't know how to smell those roses, smell the flowers, admire the beauty. So it has to come in ways that they have to identify it and then realize, okay, something has to click for them. But and there's a lot of that going on now. There's a lot of that initial ugliness um, going on, but I guarantee you, once the tendrils all unfold, once all the ugliness drops her real faces, you will see the brilliance behind everything going on right now. You will see the purpose of a lot of things. Um, and I want to share something um, about the immigrant. Kilmore Albrego Garcia. I want to share something, and I want you to just kind of go with me on this one, okay? Let's just say, for instance, Kilmore Albrego Garcia, in a previous life, may have had many folks, into the hundreds, captured wrongly, tortured, etc. And he was very cruel and he was very mean to them. And he did this through other people using other people. And so let's say he gets in between lives, realizes the damage he's done. And although a lot of people that he hurt were in themselves paying back karma by suffering from what he did, let's say, for instance, he decides, although I played a part in helping them restore and balance some of their karma, I still don't like what I did. I want to correct it. And so he orchestrates a life a new life, another life where he can do just that. And he comes in and he lives part of his life, and then events are set into motion to where he's set into motion, okay, where he can pay back, rectify his karma. And it's very important for him to do this. And so as those events are set into motion, he is an active participant in this. He suffers at the hands of some of those that he needs to suffer from. But he's also galvanized a nation against that cruelty. And he's galvanized a nation of people who themselves need to pay back karma, need to fight for the right things, because in prior lives they were willing participants of maybe actions of the World War II and what happened, those suffering during that time. And so there are so many factors involved in rectifying this karma, not only for him as a person, but for many others, okay, to become enraged at the wrong and to, for once, be on the right side of the fight for justice and for goodness and for what is right. And in doing so, so many people are correcting wrongs that they too have made in past lives. Okay? How does that story sound? And the spirit of Mr. Garcia, the actual spiritual entity of him, is pleased that so much goodness is coming out of his singular situation. And although he is suffering, he intentionally has sparked a wave of goodness around not only this country, but around the world, and open people's eyes up to many things. The dictators, and shown their true ugliness, brutality, etc. So, is that a true story, or is it fiction? Let me just say that even all fiction has some basis in truth, right? If it is a fictional story. Or is it something that was intuited to me? I will say this. The entire situation with Mr. Garcia has done just what I stated. It has opened many people's eyes up. Even some MAGA are crying foul. They're able to see Trump, Don the Con, in a different light, in a light that they needed to see him in, which was his true, ugly self. And there's no excuse they could even make. And the lies that the White House press secretary and the attorney general are telling, people instantly recognize them as lies. So, I'm going to leave that there. But it's worth a thought. It's worth a thought, and it is, I'd like to note that that is how the karmic chain works. That's how it works. I've told you guys hundreds of times, and I will continue to tell you, the universe is never cruel. It's never unjust. It is perfectly balanced and perfectly fair. And so, in this situation, the best all of us can do is come from a position of understanding, empathy, and if you're guided to protest, by all means, protest. Send love, send your best energy, whatever you've got. Okay? Someone suggested that I have a moment of sending love for a particular situation going on in the world. I would like to suggest that we send love, period, out into the world, period. Because the energy that we send out will be picked up. I don't want to just send it to one specific situation. I just want to send it out as I do all throughout my day and at night. And just let folks pick it up as they will. Some people will pick it up when they're driving mad. Hopefully that's me. In whatever situation they may need it in. Some may be deeply depressed, sad, anxious. They'll pick it up. For the situation for Mr. Garcia, they can pick it up. So I'd like to just suggest we all have a moment where you're directing love out. Directing whatever type of love, energy, good energy out there. Send it. Just send it. Trust me, it's never wasted. Okay, I'd like to say there is a person on that has been commenting on my videos now for a bit. They call themselves the Timestamp Bandit. They are brilliant. They are hilarious. They timestamp my most, my whole conversation for me, but in such a succinct, perfect, hilarious, humorous way. I swear to God, if you ever stop, I will find you. I will hunt you down. I will find you, and I don't know. I'll sick my guides or something on you, okay? Take that as a threat, however you want. It is. You are brilliant. I don't know how you come up with this stuff, but it's brilliant. I always pin it to the top of the conversation so everybody can enjoy their comments. But sincerely, I thank you very much. And I can't wait till you write about me threatening you. And I don't even care, okay? But anyway, seriously, thank you very much. I feel that, let me just say also, the last video I did, it was on April 13th. And I said that I was directed to do a video on April 13th. I didn't know if there was anything going to major happen on that day, or whether it's just the day that I was supposed to do that video. Well, April 13th, some, person with some serious issues decided they wanted to burn down Governor Josh Shapiro's mansion, the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, which is where I live. And that exact day. And fortunately, this was in the middle of the night. Fortunately, he and his family were saved. They're safe. They were not harmed at all through the quick thinking actions of some police. So, very glad to hear that he and his family are okay, and very glad to hear that the guy was caught. So, April 13th turned out to be a very significant date after all. And yes, he was a MAGA, a self admitted MAGA person. Okay, some more recaps. Remember the prediction I gave you guys about China? And I said it was a twofold prediction. I said, look out for China. They're going to be known for something. Again, because I had one before about them, but they were going to be known for something like a wow type thing, and also something regarding like something white, structure, etc. Well, part of that definitely came true this past week as a result of Don the Con putting tariffs on China to such a high degree, 125% on some things. China retaliated, and what they're in many ways, okay, but one of the things that they did was they completely exposed the luxury market. So all those wonderful bags, purses, etc., that we get are basically all made in China for pennies on the dollar. And they go through this little circuitous route to put a label on them. And that's what hikes it up thousands and thousands of dollars. But basically, the United States gets scammed by the big name, retailers when we could be paying literally just a few hundred instead of thousands and thousands of dollars. So that prediction part of it definitely came true. Also, I had talked about last week the Siemens CEO, and something would come out about how nefarious that situation turned out to be, and that it was sort of, I believe, not an accident. And I won't even go into it on this video, but if you Google, you will see the bribery and the big deals made and etc. that has come out this past week on that situation. So go check it out. Also, someone wrote me in, "Hi Vena, I saw a court picture of Diddy just now and instantly thought of your prediction a while back that his appearance would change dramatically and he would seem much older. You were spot on with this." I did not see the picture that this person is talking about, but I know that back in like December, I had said that we wouldn't even recognize him. And I wasn't even sure if he was still going to be around at some point. I think it's almost like it could go either way for him. He's either going to be completely free or not ever free. Ever free. And ever free means he will eventually end up somehow unalive, whether he does it himself or someone does it to him. So, but I knew that he was just going to age very much. I'm trying to get over a little something with these allergies, guys, so just bear with me. I need you guys to Google Martin County, Florida Town Hall on 416. Please mark that down. Google that. Room full of almost nothing but Republicans. I told you, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Republicans would turn against this administration and Don the Con. These people are I've never seen nothing like it, honestly. They're staunch Republicans. They're pissed. They're not taking it. They can't stand this administration anymore. They can't stand their politicians. And they're this close to doing something. This close. Please Google Martin County, Florida Town Hall. And also, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a town hall on the 14th or 15th. They weren't too happy at hers either. Several had to be escorted out. Two of them were tased coming out. Now imagine the look that that created. One of them held up a huge sign saying, what about her insider trading? So, then the Chuck Grassley town hall, angry. So I want to say that I've told you guys, and I've been telling you, love has to move the way it has to move, in our speed, in our way, okay? These things have to be organic. In other words, things need to happen in order for people to see the truth, see the light, etc. Okay? These things are happening. In the meantime, if you're not being directly affected by it, do not allow yourself to be drawn daily into the constant craziness of it, okay? The dust will settle. And if you are affected by it, trust me, love is still in that situation too. Love never abandons us, ever. Even during our most trying moments. It's only there to either teach us, to rectify something that needs rectifying in our lives, or to push us in another way. Okay? So no one is ever abandoned or dropped. Good luck. Never. Ever. But just allow the dust to settle. A huge bomb was dropped on this country. Okay? And the dust, we got to let the dust settle. They're going to do this and that and this and that. Just let them. The karmic rubber band, by the way, is so stretched so tight with the Republicans. I was given that. It's just, it's at its. You remember this? Remember this? I talked about this. Their rubber band is, I can't stretch it anymore. I literally can't stretch it anymore. Okay? By the way, I've talked about the administration being completely different after this month. Well, already we're in the middle of the month. Where's EM? Where is EM? You notice how he's just dropped off the face of things? He came out strong against the tariffs, and he didn't want to say Don the Con's name directly, so he attacked Peter Navarro, who is Don the Con's whatever man in his administration. Now you haven't heard a peep from him. Where is he? Where's Vance after that disastrous Greenland visit? And seriously, where are they? Where are they? And then you look at this guy on TV, Don the Con, and he looks like the walking zombie. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there because, seriously, where are they? Where are they? Senator Chris Holland and Cory Booker are now going to take a trip to El Salvador. I think that is a good gesture for them to do. But I didn't get the best feeling when I first heard it. And I didn't want to pursue anything about it. to see what I got. And the reason is because so many things could just go wrong. They don't have the backing of the president, so if anything happens down there with them, who's going to help them? You know, and they're going into a dictatorship country. And I am not sure that Kilmar is still with us. I'm just not. Every time I see his picture, I just don't feel the energy. So I'm just not feeling great about their visit. But I love that they're trying to take a stand. Um, but like I said, I just didn't have an initial great, wonderful feeling about it, and so, um, and I'll just leave it at that. Let's answer a question or two. Hello, dear Vina. Please explain whether or not those who pass over before us to the other side need or require our meditative prayers. Okay, so I've always said, whether it's in my books or here on the videos, and I just said it, sending love is never wasted, ever wasted. It's good energy, and it just propagates itself. Okay, so but do they need it? No, they don't need it. Um, Being immersed in the spiritual world, you are sustained by love. You are sustained by good energy. You are immersed in it 100 and 1,000%. Okay. And although some may initially go in a shocked manner, they may be in like a sort of state of shock when they first pass or shed this vessel. There are helpers there that will help with that. They won't be that way for long. They will merge themselves into the divine um, fabric of love that's always there. They will automatically hook up and connect up to that. So, do they need it? No. Is it nice to do it? Absolutely. It's certainly, they feel it. They will feel it, and it will propel them in some way. But they don't need it, and you don't feel like, oh my God, if I didn't do that, like, are they going to be okay? Absolutely, they will be okay. Um, Twice I was awakened by being physically pinned, like a body was on top of me. It was very frightening. I smudged my apartment both times and it worked. Was this a negative, dangerous spirit? And did I attract this? It still bothers me. Any insight would help. So I talk about being visited by extraterrestrial type beings in my second book, The Spiral of Love. But I can tell you this, um, it is not always a negative type entity. As a matter of fact, most of the time it's not. But there are times when certain beings may need to facilitate some type of contact with you on a deeper level of your conscious, your subconscious, or directly into your spirit being. And they may need for your physical being to be still, immobilized. And so, although it's frightening to us, they mean no harm by doing that. It's just that in order for them to facilitate that communication, they need to render the body immobile. Okay. And that can be very frightening. Okay. it's sort of like if you're getting anesthesia and you're sort of at that right before you totally go out, you're sort of paralyzed, but you're aware. But that paralyzation is like, oh my God, I can't move, but I'm aware. Well, that's kind of how it is. So no, not necessarily is it a negative entity, and you have to also remember too, um, no one has access to your core. And when I say your core, that's your spirit. Okay, your spirit cannot be taken over. So your physical body can, yes, and this brain sort of can. This material brain, this gray matter can be, but your actual spirit, the part that inhabits you, that that animates this physical body, cannot be taken over. And so you can always appeal to it. You can always reach that. And also, don't forget you have guides, okay, who will 10 times out of 10 protect you when need be. And they have the power to do that. They are fully empowered. And I talked about that in my last video I did, a little bit more in depth. So um, yeah, but that's typically when uh, some type of communication needs to be facilitated, or maybe you may be being worked on some kind of way, and in order to do that, they immobilize the physical body. So it's not always, most of the time, a negative or bad thing. Um, and you can only be possessed, literally possessed, if your spirit is riddled with holes of hatred. Okay? Um, if you don't have hatred, if you are guided internally, like I said, your highest priority is love, is divine love. You have an automatic protection around you, and you cannot be possessed. You just can't be. It's impenetrable, impenetrable. How's that? Um, so yeah, that's a good question, and I'm glad that person asked it. And I think that is it that I'm gonna cover. Oh, someone did ask, how do you reconnect or connect to guides when you feel absolutely depleted, when things don't seem to ever work out? That's a good one. So first of all, you're never disconnected from your guides, okay? You may feel, you may not feel a connection, okay? Because at times, your life needs to become a mess sometimes. It needs to be shaken up, okay? If you are not necessarily going down the right path, or your life needs to change, or you need to become more open to things, or you're not particularly learning certain lessons, your guys will basically do a hands-off approach and basically allow things to just get sort of effed up, okay? And that is so you can get to a point where you're open for more guidance, or open to do something different, or to propel you in a different way, okay? You're never, ever disconnected. You can't disconnect from spirit ever. You never can. It just may feel, you may not feel a conscious connection. Um, and like I said, it's for reasons. Um, Sometimes they have to be hands off, because they're not going to do the work for you in your life. They're just not going to. All right. But, excuse me. Um, but even though they'll do a hands off, they're still watching over you, and they'll still let things only get but basically so far. But you've got to do some work. And when that happens, just know that, hey, I'm either not listening or I'm going down the same path and I need to do things a little bit differently, or I'm not learning a particular lesson, or I just need to change. Okay? That's typically why many of us feel that way. I too have felt that way. I write about it. It's in the books. I told you guys. Like I said, I most of the stuff that you guys talk about, I've been there, done that, went through it all. I got no special nothing hardly by having a near death experience. The only thing I got the understanding of certain things, but it was up to me to put it into practice and to use it. I got no magical beautiful paths that opened up to me. Here, Vita, walk down this one. Everything's going to be great. Go for it, girl. You do it. Yay. No. Many, many, many things I had to utilize the information I learned the very hard way. And a lot of things I didn't get at first. Stubborn about. And yeah. So just because I got that wonderful knowledge and information, I still got to apply it. I still got to use it. I still have to put in the work. And so that question means that you've got to put in the work somehow in your life. Okay? So great question. And I'm so glad that people feel free to ask their questions because, I mean, a lot of times people don't. They're just like, hey, thanks for the video. It touched me. And I love that too, by the way. But a lot of times, you know, one thing will spark another question. And people, it takes a lot for people to be honest and say, hey, look, can you help me out here? Or do you have an understanding of this? So I respect that. I really do. It takes courage sometimes. But anyway, guys, I plan on coming back in a couple more days when I'm feeling a little bit more perkier. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And by the way, my last video on ETs wasn't such a good hit. And I think a lot of people love ETs, but some are not interested. So, but pretty soon here, almost everyone's going to be interested because we're seeing a lot more, and there's going to be some big events happening as far as ET. And yes, open contact. Yes. So pretty soon everybody's, and then I guess people will be coming back to my video like, oh, where's that one on the ETs? Or the ETs, the several of them that I did. But that's okay. That's all right. I get it. I get it. If it doesn't really affect some people, they're just not interested in it. And I get it, you know. But pretty soon here it will. And last thing, history is not repeating itself, although in a sense it is with what's going on. But it's giving us the chance to do things differently and to fix things and to help people rectify a lot of their karma, like I kind of said at the beginning. And I want to leave you with this. Don the Khan and his administration are only allowed to do up to what divine wisdom will allow. And that not only goes for them, but that goes for this entire world. If you think about it, all despots, dictators, tyrants, etc., eventually they all fall. They all do. Okay? They're only allowed to do up to what divine love will allow, what is in that fabric of the things that need to play out, the things that need to happen. Okay, so once certain situations or once things are to the point where people have either learned or gotten what they need from them, the hardship, the lesson, it dissolves, it vanishes, it's no longer needed because the universe is never ever cruel, ever, ever cruel. All right, so take care, guys, and thanks a lot.